Hey there, welcome to this GSPN Win in 6 and Eurostep collaboration episode. I am Ty Windisch, joined as always by the magnificent Rohan Katti, the glorious Jordan Treske, as we discuss the Milwaukee Bucks locking up the number 1 seed. We have some other news to discuss. We'll get there later. Good vibes at first. Fellas, all things considered tonight, how's it going?
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah?
I think Rohan took my exact words. No, it is this is a day to celebrate the Bucks.
They have become the first team in NBA history to earn the Maurice Podoloff Trophy.
Hey, which one is that?
It's really what they used to call the MVP, but they renamed that to the Michael Jordan Trophy. So now they award this trophy to the team with the best record in the NBA. So the Bucks are the first team ever to receive this trophy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, locking in 58 wins. It was obviously what we were more concerned with from a, practical point of view was the first seed in the East, because that was what determined all the seeding stuff for, the bracket. I think really the home court is big, but the bracket is the big deal. The Bucks are now locked in. They will, I think maybe Philly can still drop. It's very unlikely. 1 through 5 in the East is basically set at this point. But at the very least, the Bucks will not see Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's very likely that they will only see one of Boston and Philly. Maybe 0 of Boston and Philly. Who knows? Jimmy Butler's having quite a year. But at most, one of Boston or Philly, as those two teams get locked into the other side, the 2-3 side of the bracket. And really, I think we can talk about the game, too. Really a great Wes Matthews game. Kind of the guys you expect to come through. Like Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis just seem like they're always good for like 20 and 10-ish production when players are out, especially Giannis. Drew Holiday takes over these games late. He did that again. Wes Matthews, just what he did to DeMar DeRozan shouldn't be allowed to be put on TV. I mean, oh my God.
National TV at that.
Yeah, the nation. Apparently, I watched the Bally. Somebody told me Jeff Van Gundy said like gritty like 1,000 times talking about Wes and the Bucks. And I was like,
Jeff
good. Jeff Van Gritty. And then he hit the gritty.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
I made that up. Can Rohan, can you gritty?
I probably can.
Should we have a gritty off at our next event?
No.
Shout out to everyone who came to the GSPN watch party Tuesday night.
It was incredible. Thank you to everyone for coming out. Thanks to everyone for being supportive. And hopefully we can put together something like that again in the future.
I'll gritty at the next one. That's my promise. So if you're listening to this pod,
clip it
right now. Hold me to it. Join the GSPN Discord, subscribe to this feed and our other feeds. Make sure you don't miss, because, we were sneaky. We didn't put it on Twitter beforehand. It was real listener stuff. You know what I mean? So make sure you're listening. Make sure you're in the Discord. The Discord got a heads up as well. But back to this game. Actually, back to the 1 seed. Really big deal that they were able to put together all these wins with the kind of season they've had. I mean, we've talked about it in the context of Giannis's MVP case. But really, I think the story of this season is they just always found ways to win. They're a deep team, and they're so focused on winning. That's all we hear them talk about. And they have so many skilled players. And, as great as it would be if Giannis wins MVP, it's still possible, but I feel like probably unlikely. I think the story of this year is not just Giannis found ways to win when Drew or Khris were out. It's really any combination of players. Like, they just always found enough ways to win. 58 wins with 2 games left. And you look at Giannis is going to miss, almost 20 games? More than 10 games for sure. Drew missed more than 10 games. Khris missed half the damn season. I mean, that's a lot to overcome. They're going to lead the NBA in wins. It's locked in now. The best record in the league. That's really, really impressive stuff from the Milwaukee Bucks this season.
It's a testament to the culture that they've built here over the years that Mike Budenholzer has been here, but the groundwork being laid with Giannis and Khris sort of making this team their own. They're a team that wants to win. They're a team that no matter what it takes, they will go out there, they will win games because they play together. They play cohesively. They play as a unit. Everyone knows what they should be doing out there. very well coached team, great roster filled with amazing talents. Hats off to the entire organization, players, because this is a formidable unit. Because like you mentioned, Ty, everyone is missing games. No one else has excuses. Like every other team has injuries. Like no team is getting off with like no injuries, but the Bucks, especially, like you're like coming into the season, your second best player, not your second best player anymore, but coming into the season, your second best player, you expect him to miss half the season. You're 3-time All-Star, and you're like, yeah, we'll just go out there and lead the league in wins. It's fine. It's fine. Easy. Let's go do that. Almost get to 60. They still can get to 60 wins.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous top down just unity within the organization for just one common goal, and that is to win basketball games.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries, everything that has gone on this season, where Khris is going to play a little bit more than a third of the season, pretty much at this point now, in light of recent events. Giannis missing 19, or I think right now he's at 63 games played of the year. Drew at 66. Javon Carter is at 78 games played, likely going to lead the team. Like, we talk about, or Joe Ingles coming back from an injury, Wesley Matthews being out for a very long time, or whether it's them just kind of like maintenance and watching his minutes and knowing that
Pat Connaughton started the season on the
Pat's been
banged up again,
beyond complete repair at this point.
Bobby missed a long stretch in the middle of the season.
Yep. Grayson
out now and like had a couple. He was pretty consistent, but had some missed time as well.
Yeah, like if you really think about like the top 8, top 9, the guys that we've been talking about the whole year, outside of Brooke and Javon, that everybody has missed at least some length of time.
Yeah.
And to get to at least 58 wins, in spite of all that, shows, as Ron mentioned, unity, the culture of this team that, frankly, doesn't get talked about as much because, for many reasons, it's Giannis's superstar ability just so, overshadowing a lot of things, but like Drew being so good this year, especially Brooke rejuvenated, all these things happen for a reason because of the things that are in place. And obviously depth too, the fact that you can soldier on and weather through this. I mean, it's not too dissimilar from what they went through last year, but there was, Brooks' injury masked a lot of things of like, he was the big guy or lost for a long time. When Giannis missed time, there was COVID pretty much running through a lot of the team during last year.
Yeah.
And that season, like, that was a different experience. Getting to 51 wins, it was like about just like, let's get through the season. And then when the playoffs start, it's a new ball game. And then obviously we, know how that ended. I just think like, this is a very veteran team. Everybody is ready-made. They know what they're expected to do here, and it's a lot of things realized for this Bucks team. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to reach their ultimate goals. We have a couple months to figure that out still, but I think a night like tonight was kind of emblematic of like, you lose Khris, Giannis is not playing, Grayson, Pat already out. I could go on and on and on, but like, they still really found a way to turn that game on its head during the second half and win comfortably against, a Bulls team on a back-to-back and going to be a play-in team. But, like, still emblematic of what the Bucks have done this season.
It is already one of the 8 best seasons in Milwaukee Bucks history in terms of total wins. 9, they were 56-17 when the COVID shortened season. So that one would have been even higher up there in terms of winning percentage. That one would actually be their 3rd best season. But still, this is going to be one of the, less than 10 best seasons in franchise history, despite all of that stuff, which is pretty spectacular when you think about, winning nearly as much as that first Bud team that really like, they didn't know anything about the playoffs, right? Like that team was all about just having so much fun, rampaging through the league. This is
finding out what that's like now.
Yeah, exactly. But this is such a different, like they didn't push for wins. They did it. I mean, they wanted to be the first seed, right? Like, I don't think I'm not going to say they didn't care, but like you look at the minutes everybody plays, right? Like no one's playing more than like 32, maybe 33 minutes a game. Where you look at some teams, guys are in the high 30s. Nick Nurse, I don't know, maybe it's like Pascal Siakam might average 45 minutes in April. Who knows? It's just like they just did it. They just kept winning. I think it really speaks to the depth, and we've said this a lot, but got to credit John Horst for building a terrific roster. Thankfully, doing so before the new CBA comes into play, and apparently will make it much harder to do so. From my understanding of this, I mean, the Bucks already have all of these guys and their bird rights or early bird rights and everything. So I don't think that will impact Milwaukee's ability to keep together this group. It may make moves down the line harder. That's a whole different podcast conversation. What we should be focused on and are focused on is this team and this playoff run. And we can officially start talking about that now because the regular season is basically done. Maybe they get 60. That would be cool. I think Giannis is going to play one of these last two games personally and, maybe get him and Crowder some more run together, that sort of thing. The Memphis game at home makes sense. If you're a Bucks fan living in Toronto, should you go see them Sunday at noon Central? Yeah, it's fun to see the Milwaukee Bucks play basketball. I hope you are a fan of Marjon Beauchamp and AJ Green and Lindell Wigginton, because there is nothing the Bucks are playing for.
Come on, Ty. Give me this moment.
What?
Thanasis.
Thanasis is going to be big time in that game. Hopefully, here's all I want. Remember the last game against the Cavs last year when they didn't have enough players and they had to tell guys not to foul? They could have won that game if they could have played for real. I hope there's enough active players that they can play real defense. That's all I hope for. The injuries, we'll see. We might not get that. Should we get to injuries now?
Unfortunately, sure.
I think we have to, right? I mean, any last thoughts on? I mean, it's great. It really is. Like, it's marred by the Khris thing and the other two wing injuries. It really is a great accomplishment, and it means a ton. And there's people who say the division titles, the regular season stuff doesn't matter. It matters if you think it matters, and I think it matters. I think it means a lot.
It matters that the road to the Larry O'Brien Trophy runs through Fiserv Forum.
That too.
It matters that every potential Game 7 that the Bucks have to play will be played at home.
Yeah.
But that matters.
Also matters that Boston and Philadelphia are going to kill the living shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Sorry to make this explicit, but like
that's all. Let's just do it. Yeah.
I know there are probably some people that, and I would agree with this, going through that Nets series during the championship year made the Bucks tougher, and it was experience that they needed to do. Considering the state of the Bucks right now, getting that one seed kind of just eases up a little bit. And you look at the bracket. I think Knicks, Cavaliers.
That's locked in.
What you said earlier, it is locked in.
That's locked in for sure. That was the first series to be locked in the whole league. That one is. Those two teams will play in the first round. That's why the Cavs going to Orlando whenever their next game is. They have like 8 guys out. That one is secured.
So like looking at 4 or 5 matchups, not to get ahead of ourselves, but like you kind of just want to ease into things, especially with how many injuries and players are in flux right now. But yeah, I going through last year of the Boston series without Khris and just how the Bucks looked at by the end of it, and just it looked like playing with one hand behind their back by the end of it. It's really hard to ask of that for them again. When there's so much uncertainty piling up right now.
Well, and we also saw the flip side of that scenario too. Like, it's great when you make it through that kind of a series and it gives you that ability. But I mean, they had the same exact situation last postseason. Sometimes you lose that series, that really intense second round series against the team that you should see in the conference finals. And then what you gain from it doesn't really help you that much because you're home or going to Eurobasket in Giannis's case. So they had their series like that. A lot of the primaries are still here from that Nets series. The role players that they have around them, sans Javon, who's gotten really just looks so good, and I think I trust to just fit in with this group. I think what he provides, he's really become lock solid in this playoff rotation, in my opinion. But the other guys, they're all vets who have been on a lot of playoff teams. I don't need them to have one of those series in the second round. I really hope they don't have one of those series in the second round. There was one more thing I wanted to say before we got to injuries. Jordan, do you watch Succession?
Oh, yes.
I know Rohan doesn't. This isn't a spoiler, Rohan. Don't worry. But here's a comp I made on Twitter, Jordan.
Comp?
It's what? What do you mean, and the listeners?
For the listeners, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler for. Yeah, I wouldn't spoil for them either. I mean, no part of the show. This isn't from this season, but I think Bud is kind of Logan Roy. There was a scene when he was talking to the kids, and he just goes, "I fucking win." And you all sit on the sidelines. I'm like, that's probably how he feels every time he talks to media, but he just can't say it. And that's not even disrespect to media, but just the way Bud handles his media interactions. I gotta bring up
that speech. You come in with love? No! That's actually what Aaron Rodgers said in the to Brian Gutekunst when he.
This is Bud talking to Eric Name. Again, I'm a big fan of Eric Name. This is not a shot, but your recorders turn into sausages. But he just wins.
On the floor. That's Bobby's nickname.
Scoop on the floor. No, but yeah, I just think.
But as Logan Roy is an interesting visual.
It is.
I don't think he has the gravitas to really pull it off because he just has this always the butt face.
Somebody needs. I need Bud. If Bud's ever on Cameo, that's the last thing on Earth that would happen. That's the last thing in the universe that would happen. But I would.
Can you imagine Bud on Cameo?
This was,
yeah. If Bud was on Cameo, I would pay him whatever it takes to just get 5 minutes of him saying, "Yeah, no," just on repeat.
Yeah, no, fuck off. That's gonna be Bud's Logan Roy impression, but This isn't shade. I meant to say it because he just does win. That's where I got the first idea of the comp from. Because that Logan says that a lot. I just win. That's what Bud's been doing, man. He just finds ways to win. I mean, he's already one of, if not the best coach in Bucks franchise history, and probably a Hall of Famer already with his resume at this point.
I think he is a Hall of Famer.
I mean, yeah. You look at the
NBA
winning
champion,
percentage, the total wins.
2-time Coach of the Year with 2 different franchises.
Yeah. And
just a winner, the biggest floor-raising coach you could possibly ever find.
And at his age, with Giannis saying he wants to stay in Milwaukee as long as they'll have him, can pile up a lot more wins too. And I think Bud is a spot to really get himself more titles high. Too. That as well. Should we even talk about playing yet, or just do injuries?
Let's talk play-in if we're talking about record right now. Okay. So the 4 play-in teams are basically locked in.
I think they are. I think 11. Oh, yeah, Miami, I think
they're all.
Miami and Brooklyn could technically flip-flop, but it's very likely that
even
it will be.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say the Bucks could avoid it, but that's not true.
Why would you want to? I'd welcome a Miami matchup.
No. I mean, they're.
But to your point, Jordan, so those 2 are the ones that don't matter for the Bucks, actually. Even if they do flip. So the team that goes in actually, no, that's not true. Never mind.
No, it's not.
They could if they lose the first.
If they lose the first and win the second.
Play the winner of 9 and 10.
Yes. So technically, the Bucks could face any of these 4 teams.
Yes, it's the team in 2 knows they'll be seeing. They
either 7 or 8.
4. Yeah.
You're either seeing seed 7 or 8 if you're in the 2 seed, but the Bucks, since they are in the 1 seed, they could play any of Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, or Chicago in the first round of the playoffs this season. Now, given what we've seen this season, all 4 of these teams would get swept expeditiously.
Yeah.
It would. Jordan, don't, Jordan. What do you? No, say it. I want you to say it so I can attack.
I bet they'd win in 5 with the injuries and everything.
Jordan, say it.
I think Miami and Atlanta, I would think at least take a game.
No,
also Atlanta.
Atlanta?
I agree. They'd shoot the lights out for a game. Yeah, they'd win the game 4. They'd go down 3-1, and then it would be over. There.
What do you say?
Yeah, almost. But it's just going to be how are the Hawks going to beat the Bucks in a playoff
variance? Game? They did it. They won in Milwaukee.
Yeah, thanks to you, Ty. But that's a different team.
The night of the long knives are coming.
Yeah.
That's a different Hawks team than what we've seen now. That was a more egalitarian Hawks team. This Hawks team is in the mud. Like, given that they have Trae Young, they have DeJounte Murray, but that's their problem, is that it's just, okay, Trae, hey, here's a possession. Okay, hey, DeJounte, here's a possession. Okay, we're not going to stagger you, by the way. So we're just one of you is going to just play off ball and not do anything. It's disgusting basketball, quite frankly, watching the Atlanta Hawks play. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. They don't score the ball that well efficiently, and they don't play defense. Like, this team is not taking a game off the Bucks. I'm sorry. I'm honestly disgusted that you want to say that the Atlanta Hawks,
I don't want to say it.
41-39.
You realize
make a
they lost to the Magic once.
Quote-unquote superstar trade, and you get a lower record than what you had last season. Like, give me a fucking break. Are you kidding me? The Hawks?
They lost to the Orlando Magic.
Jordan, you said the Hawks over the Heat? Give me...
I said the Hawks or the Heat might take a game.
I think the Raptors would take one. I think the Raptors would take one, too.
What? Give me... What are you on?
Teams win ball games, Rohan.
It's a sweep.
They've swept 2 series ever in the in our lifetimes.
Rohan's not even looking at us. He's so disgusted.
He's disgusted. he's perturbed.
This is a team that is on a mission. This is a different team.
Well, how does the current events color your idea of this team right now?
Pretty darn good, because one of those teams I just mentioned, Jordan, was the Chicago Bulls, and you and I were just at Fiserv Forum.
No, nobody was talking about the Bulls. Nobody said the Bulls.
I'm just saying. These are the same. These are the same caliber of teams, because they are all in the play-in tournament, like I just mentioned. But the play-in tournament, wow, what an accomplishment for them! Hang the banner. The play-in tournament, which, by the way,
Rohan today,
Jordan, we're recording this podcast after the Bulls game. Jordan and I, we were at the game.
Yes.
Hey, Jordan, I have a question. Did Giannis play in that game?
No.
How much did Khris play in that game?
I believe 3 minutes.
What was the result of that game?
105-92 Bucks win.
A double-digit victory without Giannis and with Khris for 3 minutes. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's a different team.
These are the same caliber of teams. Bulls, Hawks, same thing. Like, they're 3 games apart in the stand. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, they're both bad teams.
The spiked coconut water has my guy acting different.
They're all bad teams. I don't know what to tell you.
I know. We're not disagreeing.
I saw the Orlando Magic take a game off of them. I saw the Bulls. Did the Bulls take 2 games off them last year?
The Bulls, no,
one. Exactly. 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. Sorry, we wanted to talk about injuries.
I mean, I think Jordan and I have our new injuries now. Jeez. So the big new one that we didn't know about before this game was Khris Middleton, who, as you mentioned, Jordan, I think he played 8 minutes. 8.5 minutes, yeah. So he injured it on a jumper pretty early. Tried to play through it, and then went to the locker room and then did not come back and was ruled out with right knee soreness. Soreness, the Bucks' #1 true adversary this year. The Celtics are a close second. Here, according to Gabe Stoltz at Stoltzy3, fantastic Bucks follow, from quotes from Bud on the injury. First, quote, "It's just kind of a right knee soreness," unquote. I want to speak what that, Bud.
You're getting the Bud talk.
It's fucking sausages. Okay, requote. "A re-aggravation of kind of something we've been working with him on all year." That's what I got. And then the follow-up after, I think Eric Name asked him if he'll play any of the 2 remaining games. Quote, "I don't know. I think we'll learn more, and know more going forward, so I couldn't say tonight." So we don't have much info. And I will say there are people who, when I said I just need to wait till the update to have any take on Khris leaving this game and what it means, a lot of people are, we're not going to get an update. You know the Bucks, this and that. I kind of think Khris and Brooks' injuries were just really hard to accurately describe, especially on the timetable perspective, because we got pretty good updates on Pat and Grayson pretty quickly for both of them, and we'll quickly touch on their injuries. But where are you guys at? I'll start with future Dr. Rohan on Khris Middleton's right knee soreness, a really specific kind of injury for you to describe to us here, Rohan.
I mean, it's more like a we have to wait and see sort of thing. Like you mentioned, we got more specific timelines with Grayson, and we got like word on Pat immediately. And it's just sort of it's been a weird injury. Like it's been something that's been nagging Khris all season long. We saw him come back after wrist surgery and then just have this this ghost knee injury that sort of just like kicked him out for the last for the next however many games it was until he was able to come back, and he hasn't really left since besides a game or two here. But it's weird when it's an injury that's just called soreness and he has to leave in the middle of a game for it. It's just you don't aggravate soreness. Soreness is an effect. You can't aggravate an effect. You re-aggravate an injury.
He's got bad knee.
Yeah, that knee might be cooked.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that video of that barbecue where it's like if it don't fall off the bone, it's free? That might be Chris's knee.
Jesus, despite coconut water, you're acting different.
Okay, that's obviously hyperbolic, but like it's been an up and down season when it comes to Khris Middleton and his injuries, and obviously I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah,
and we're all hoping for the best. We are a very pro Khris Middleton podcast here on GSPN, but it's not looking great. The one thing I will say that is a positive is that the Bucks are used to playing without Khris Middleton this season. So when he comes back, if he does have to miss a few playoff games, or maybe he doesn't, maybe it literally is just a soreness and he'll be like they shut him down for the remaining 2 games because, like we've mentioned earlier, the Bucks have locked up the number 1 overall seed, so there's nothing really to play for anymore besides 60 wins. So if he comes back in the playoffs, which he very well could come back for the playoffs. We've seen him miss like 1 game for knee soreness in the past, like these last few months. So it is within the realm of possibility that he just comes back right away. It's just we're going to have to wait and see. And I don't think he plays the remaining 2 games, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's there for game 1 of the playoffs.
It's very tough because I'm as I'm trying to get my answer together, I'm furiously looking for the quotes that he had with Eric Nehm earlier in the year where he's talking about his knee, and essentially what he's trying to do is rehab his knee during the season when it's supposed to be, this is what he would do in the off season. And that's really hard. I mean, Pat is on kind of the same scale where he got hurt going into training camp right in the middle of preseason, if memory serves. And then it's been up and down. He's missed multiple games, different stretches of time due to calf strains and stuff like lower leg injuries. And Khris, I mean, I don't think we understand how hard it is to maintain your body, and when you're not 100% and there's a lot of wear and tear after a long time, and the Bucks have played a lot of basketball over the last 5 years, and especially the last post-COVID, era. And to do that where you're like, okay, I need to do what's best for my body, but I want to be out there. I'm, responsible for being one of the best players on the team. And it's going as what you'd expect it to be, where there are some times where it's like a couple days ago when we were all at the game together, it's like, that looks like Khris. He's hitting 3, he's making Khris shots, he's walking into, running the offense, all these different things. And then the next night, he just looks a little step slow, it's just, for whatever reason, it's running these ups and downs that are expected during the season when you're combining all these things of like, you're traveling, you're playing 5 games in 7 nights, as the Bucks recently did. You're playing heavy minutes and you're trying to get ramping up and testing your knee and all this different things. Like, these guys put so much care and work into trying to maintain their bodies when healthy, that the, times where you're not 100%, and no one's 100% at this point in the season, it's really hard. It's really hard. And you can't fault the guy for what is going on, because it's part of it's just his body's betraying him at the worst possible times. I mean, he's gone through hell and back to try to get through all this stuff in a very short amount of time. It's been roughly a year when, he tore what was last year's injury again? PCL, right?
MCL.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. It's all these different things that, like, I just can't fathom how to really understand, or not understand, but like, you see it from his perspective of, like, I just want to get out there and I want to get through all this mess of different, ups and downs, and you think your best self one day, and then the next day your body betrays you and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's really tough, and I think the Bucks are doing as well of a job as they can considering the circumstances. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be this, like, they're going to know what to do every day when things arise. Yeah. And it's like, okay, Khris, we're going to have to take you out of the middle of the game, and Bud, you're going to have to answer for why he's not necessarily out there. It's really tough.
Yeah, and I think we do know that the Bucks' caution level for this game, even with the 1 seed at stake, was pretty high. I mean, again, I was thinking about it in this phrasing, like, if tonight was a playoff game, does Giannis play? I think absolutely yes, right? Like, he warmed up. He doesn't go. I mean, he played the 21 playoffs with his knee, like, on the verge of disaster. Like, there's levels to the caution, and even though the 1 seed was at stake and they wouldn't have secured it tonight if they didn't win, because Boston did beat Toronto, there were still 2 more chances for them to win, 2 more chances for Boston to lose. They weren't going to push it that hard. So it's not like they were going all out for this game, and we do know the Bucks have been cautious with Middleton's injuries. Also, just to color your comments further, Jordan, Khris had talked about he had a knee injury in his time at Texas A&M. That means he kind of has a very specific ramp-up process with his knee, and he just hasn't been able to do it. So I think, honestly, more than anything, he needs an offseason with no other injuries, because this past one, he has the MCL, then he deals with the wrist. Everything was just so thrown off for his usual process. And I think, hopefully, the Bucks have a long and very successful playoff run, and Khris is able to play in basically all of the games and get through it without anything else. And then, obviously, there's some contractual stuff for him upcoming that we'll talk about in future podcasts further. But a full offseason from the end of the finals to game 1 of the preseason, or whatever. Yeah, preseason would be the first time he would play, that he's able to actually do his rehab, because he just has at no point has been able to. One last note on Khris. There obviously was the big setback where he missed a bunch of games this year and was out for a couple weeks. That's the scary worst case scenario. This was, he played it, but this was the first game he missed most of that wasn't a back-to-back since February 16th, which was the last game before the All-Star break, which was the last game against the Bulls. And if you recall, there was some real fear at that point because he missed the game kind of late scratch. And they were like, was this planned? And Bud said, no, there was just kind of a setback with the knee. He doesn't play. Then there's All-Star break. He does play from then on. His minutes were a little lower, but he was able to ramp up. And the gap there was about 8 days from February 16th to February 24th. And then from that point on, he only missed one end of back-to-backs. He didn't miss any other games, which just seemed like the plan for him. The Bucks will have at least 10 days before the playoffs start. And obviously there's 2 games before then. Like you, Rohan, I'm going to assume he doesn't play. I don't think it plays in Milwaukee's favor that it's the home game at 7 p.m. and then the road game at noon. I think if that's reversed, maybe in game 2. Who knows? He's not ruled out. I would not expect it. But there is a pretty long time here to hopefully be able to get him ready and feeling good by the first playoff game. The play-in tournament helps with that for Milwaukee, a little extra time off. Also for Giannis and everybody else as well. But I think really at this point, all we can kind of do is hope and try and have positive vibes. We just don't know. I don't even really want to do, I know you mentioned this, I think, Rohan, I think they are probably better off to win if they have to win some more games without Khris this year. I don't even want to get into that until we know a little bit more, because hopefully it's not an issue and Khris is starting every game like he should be, and the Bucks are winning those games. And I think if we do get the first part, we will get the second part. I mean, at full strength, even with the Celtics concerns, I still like this team's odds against everybody, especially with home court.
Yeah, and especially like positive vibes, keeping it going. The Bucks have by far, like, they have the best medical team in the business.
Yeah,
like the best training staff, the best medical team. Yeah, look at Brooke. Just I trust this team in terms of getting their guys healthy, and that they will do whatever they can to get Khris and Grayson and Pat, as we'll surely talk about now, back into form. Because both Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton are dealing with, they're both ankle injuries, correct?
Yes. So here are the updates. I've got it pulled up. These are both courtesy of Eric Name at The Athletic. This is the full response for the update on Grayson Allen's right ankle sprain. Quote, there was an MRI. I think the findings, we're hopeful that, given we have a week of games now and then kind of a week of preparation, waiting to see who comes out of the play-in tournaments, may coincide with he's available. So I think we just have to see how these first 4, 5, 6, 7 days, first week goes, how much we can then push him or how much he's able to do in the second week. And if everything kind of went perfect, I think there are scenarios where he could be available for the first game, but that's a lot between now and then. Sometimes things go slower. Sometimes they go quicker. Grayson has been ruled out for the last 2 games, so just dealing with that tough ankle sprain, and unfortunately not going to play these last 2 games, and seems like his status for the beginning of round 1 will be questionable. As we discussed, as Rohan vehemently discussed, round 1 should not be that contentious for the Bucks. So if Grayson has to ease into that round, probably not a huge deal, but hopefully this is not disruptive for him because he was having a really strong season. It is unfortunate the timing for Grayson to go out right as the playoffs are about to start.
Also, should include, since Rohan already let the cat out of the bag, it's already out there. Going into the game tonight, both Grayson and Pat were on the bench. Didn't really see any noticeable casts, limps, that little scooter thing that they ride when they suffer an injury. I didn't see anything like that. So, yeah.
And quickly on the Pat front, before you go, Rohan, just because we got the bench watch going anyway. This is something stupid I do. I saw guys laughing not too long after Khris left, and I was like, his leg's still attached. I feel like the spirits would be worse if it totally fell off. So, you never know.
Yeah.
This means nothing. I know it means nothing. Let me have my small comfort, Rohan.
You do whatever you need to, Ty. I will support you no matter what.
Thank you. Bud, after last night's game, so after Tuesday's game on Pat's right ankle sprain, quote, he twisted his right ankle. He'll be doubtful for tomorrow's game. This game just played against the Bulls. He wasn't doubtful, by the way. Bud lied. But we're hoping it's not serious. Pat did play 3 minutes after spraining it, just as Khris played a couple minutes after his thing. Tried to play through it. Wasn't like he couldn't put anything on the knee or anything like that, which, again, who knows? Seems not negative at the very least. But it sounds like Pat closer than Grayson, but still TBD on both of them.
It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we know, because we've been covering the NBA for a while, that ankle sprains can be kind of finicky. They can be you tighten your shoes or you're out like a few weeks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variation. I mean, literally, we've seen Giannis and LeBron just tie their shoes tighter after they any normal human being would just be out for a month and a half.
Yeah, like me.
They're just fine. Yeah, I was going to say, Ty, you know this better than anyone right now.
I'm the expert. I couldn't put shoes on for 3 days. Yeah.
It's just, they're different, man. They're so different. But, it's just going to be, it's unfortunate for Bucks fans and just NBA fans in general, but it's going to have to be a wait and see sort of thing. Like Bud was saying, I think he said best case scenario is that Grayson Allen is back for game 1 of the playoffs. That'd be great. That'd be amazing. That'd be incredible. They'd need him, especially if it's against the Bulls, because we know he torches that team. But it's just, we're going to have to wait and see and just keep positive vibes going. And this is something where we've spoken about this for a while now. I'm glad this team loaded up on wings because now they have a lot of options. They have the depth to get through it. They have a complete roster. Like we just saw this team, like I mentioned, no Grayson, no Pat, no Giannis, no Khris, basically go out there and beat a play-in team by double digits. Like this team is capable. They have the depth and they just need guys to step up. And this team has a history of guys stepping up so hard, by the way, that Bobby Portis got drug tested after this game.
I wanted to break that news, but Rohan beat me to it. Yeah, that is pretty remarkable. And if it's not out of the ordinary, what kind of game did he have?
It was a season high in threes for him.
Oh,
I wish there was a drug that let you shoot threes better. I would take that drug. I'm not in any sanctioned league. I can do what I want. I don't need steroids, but I would like to shoot threes better.
Like I said, fuck the rule of law. I'm not in a basketball league that governs anything.
Well, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's collectively bargained, or I guess it might not be.
Is it illegal? Is it illegal for me to take steroids?
It depends on what the drug is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it might be questionable.
You're gonna show up to your YMCA hopped up on whatever Mark McGuire was shooting up.
But see, no, that's not what I want though. I want the 3-point shooting drug.
I mean, if you just want steroids, steroids are illegal, Ty. I hope you know that.
No, why would I know that? I haven't tried.
Okay,
well,
guy comes up to you after, hey, you want to try this steroid?
Yeah, I guess I'm not the target demo. I guess no one's ever looked at me and been like, he's looking for juice.
You need these roids.
Yeah.
You need these roids.
I'm already too jacked. I hate injury pods because I was just like, yeah, hopefully it's good. I don't know.
Because it's especially because of the types of injuries. Like if you had like anything specific, like with Khris, we're not really sure what it is in terms of like what the actual injury is that he re-aggravated, just that his knee does not feel 100%.
Yeah.
And with Pat and Grayson, it's ankle injuries, which unfortunately have a ton of variability. Like it's tough for us to really sit here and say, oh, we know there's a time, and we know the Bucks love giving timelines anyway. Though they have been better at that, I will give them credit. This season they've been so much better. Last season you guys know what I'm talking about. I was just on a rampage.
Oh yeah, you're a big rampage guy these days.
Call me Dwayne the Rock Johnson because I'll make a movie called Rampage.
Fair play.
But it's just unfortunate.
You're killing Jordan on this pod. If you're not watching YouTube, Jordan just spent half this pod doubled over laughing.
It's
Rohan is like the MVP right now.
Yeah, he's hard carrying.
I can see I see just like these levels. It's rising. It's like, oh, it's like Drew tonight, where it's like, oh, he finally has it going, and then it's like he's hitting these rainbow jumpers. That's what Rohan's doing right now. He's just giving us the sauce.
Rainbow takes.
And not only was Drew Holiday stepping up, but a guy who's going to need to step up is Wes Matthews, and he did against the Bulls. And especially like considering these injuries. Like Ty, I think you tweeted about this. He stayed ready, and he didn't need to get ready because he stayed ready. Came out here, hit some threes, played amazing, phenomenal defense like we talked about. Shout out Laz. Hell prison-esque defense.
Yeah.
On DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday. He had DeMar in absolute prison, and might need to have a bigger role, especially like if Grayson and Pat and Khris are going to be like struggling and coming back from injuries, like ramping back up as the postseason begins. Wes Matthews is going to have a much bigger role, and he's been waiting for this opportunity. He's been here. He's been a consummate vet, and just he was incredible.
I had my Serge Ibaka parallel moment today during the game because it's just like, I mean, it would be nice if Serge was bought in because Myers can't play.
Myers might be the worst basketball player I've ever seen.
I will not even talk about Myers Leonard.
I mean, apparently at the combine he had a 7'3" wingspan. He must be 7'10" if that's true because I swear he has T-Rex arms. But hey, he's just like. I just look at basketball players sometimes and go like, what do you accomplish? And with him, I'm like, he's just there. Spencer Hawes.
I saw him.
Player. It's the same player as Spencer Hawes.
Spencer at least hits the threes. I don't think Myers
Myers hit a couple. He had a good 3-point percentage.
He hit a couple threes, but it was incredibly jarring to see a 7'1" center when boxing out. I'm forgetting which Bulls player, but I think it was like maybe Derrick Jones Jr., some kind of forward, not a center. He was ducking.
He's not used to playing the 5. I mean, he basically was a 4. I mean, it's like the position he played isn't really in the league anymore. Like we don't just have like these huge 4s who don't have to be big at all. Like those are all just wings now. Those are all just like 6'8" guys you can switch and handle. And now he's got to be a 5 and needs some more time in the film lodge watching the Brook tape and maybe like I don't know, like giving him some memories. Can we inception him on some Brook memories on drop? I don't know. Anyway, enough about, and it doesn't matter. Should not matter. Should never, ever, ever, ever play in the playoffs. There are people who have told me, oh, you need him if Brook's in foul trouble.
No.
You don't want Bobby or Giannis for Embiid.
That is insanely wrong.
Give me TA.
Give me, let's just, you know what? Bobby and Giannis are big guys. Is Bobby an ace defender? No. Would I rather have Bobby playing in literally any scenario than Myers Leonard? Yes. Yes.
Bobby at least knows how to use his body and his hands and make up for his limitations.
Yeah, and offensively, I mean, he just had a 20 rebound game. He just had a 20-point game. Like, just play Bobby. Let's keep it simple. Back to Wes though. Wanted to share. I'm glad you brought him up, Rohan, before we wrap, because I wanted to share some great Wes Matthews quotes, courtesy of Stolze. The first one, I will say, I think this quote got me over my injury doldrums a little bit. So hopefully it can do the same for you guys and some of our listeners here. Wesley Matthews on what he told Drew Holiday following his turnover struggles. Quote, "Let that shit go. You're the best point guard in the world. Go be that." I love Wes.
I want to go run through a wall.
I know. That's literally exactly what I said.
Also, I will throw this out there. At that moment, Drew took off his headband.
Yep.
Threw it on the court. They come out of the timeout. Who does not have their headbands?
Wes Matthews.
Drew Holiday and Wes Matthews.
Wes Matthews, yep. And they were both electric after that. That was like, my Serge point I kind of dropped earlier. Like, Wes was in that same position as Serge, to be honest. Yep. Like, he was injured for part of it, but, he got healthy. He just wasn't playing. And people said, I think they're saving him, all this, all that. Knowing Wes, like, just seeing, like, the way he posts, the way he talks, Wes does not want to be saved, right? Like, Wes wants to play. This is a competitive...
This man started in the playoffs last season. I mean,
there's no universe where he was like, I'd rather just not play for months in the season so I can be rested. Like, he's ready to play. He wanted to play. Did he ever complain about it publicly? No, not a single time. He stayed ready. He stayed locked in, and the opportunity came, and he made the most of it. And, that just means that's that locker room, that culture you talked about earlier, Rohan. That's serious. Here's Wesley Matthews' thoughts on Milwaukee wrapping up the 1 seed as well. Also, courtesy of Stolze. I have a tear in my eye. I love Wes Matthews. For us to have 58 wins, clinch the number 1 overall, is a testament to everybody's character in that locker room and the determination to be the last team standing. What we did tonight so far this season has been a great feat. There's excitement. It's nothing to just dismiss. Only one team can be the number 1 overall seed, and we were able to do that, but we still have our sights set bigger, and it's one game at a time still.
Just the best. Absolutely the best. Wes Matthews is the best.
Embodies Bucks culture. He really does.
Yep,
he does. And I will say, by the way, speaking on the headband thing, at the end of the game, Bobby Portis had like an and one. He like took his headband off. Like Drew and Wes made him take his headband off just in solidarity. It was hilarious. But no, Jordan, like we were analyzing that as it happened. We're just like, Drew. I've never seen Drew that frustrated before. Where he just like literally like is making a scene on the court. Where it's like he had a bad pass, a bad turnover, and I've never seen him act like he's just going to take his headband off and like throw it on the ground in the middle of the court and walking away from the Bucks bench as the Bucks call timeout. Like I've never seen that before. But Wes Matthews turns that situation into something they can rally around. And it's just like a fun gag. Like Drew and Wes, they're going headbandless. Now let's get Bobby involved too. Let's make it a thing and let's play better. And that's exactly what they did. Every team needs a Wes Matthews.
Yeah.
But luckily the Bucks have the only one.
take that from Houston Rockets. I don't know why I put that out there.
It's LA. It's LA.
They're
He left the Bucks to go to the Lakers and then came back to the Bucks.
That's true.
It's a good call. He got the timing wrong on both ends of it, but it's a good call to come back.
You know what? We'll give him a ring anyway.
He deserves one. Yeah, I really hope they can.
The Surge get a ring?
The ring, Surge's ring is going to hold out.
He technically has not signed with another team.
I wonder why.
He hasn't. He my dude's in the unemployed line.
It is technically.
He's
I just
making
don't know why we're qualifying it. Like, my dude's just out there on his couch, like working out with whatever Melo works out with. It's true.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
He's working out with freaking Hassan Whiteside. Like, that's what he's come to.
I was just gonna ask, who was it that you were needlessly piling on last time, and it was Whiteside, and you came back to it naturally.
Yeah, I mean, they're both together. It makes sense.
Do you have any comment on James Johnson?
I love him.
Okay,
love him to death. Best player in the NBA. He should be on the Bucks.
Just had to make sure that you weren't totally crossing the line. Jordan, do you get that inside joke?
I think I do, but I thought there was something they have with James Johnson where he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hang it up."
No, no, not.
We're getting into that part of we're getting that part of the season where like Nick Nurse is like openly talking about like, yeah, I probably won't be here anymore.
It's like
as they're going to be a play-in team.
Yeah,
like their season's not done.
They turn their season around, and he's like, I'm still not about this. I don't like this.
He's following Fred VanVleet to Houston.
And James Harden, super team.
Yeah, with Jalen Green as well. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
What a mess the Rockets are.
Oh, wait.
I feel bad.
Wait, there's one more thing we have to talk. We're supposed to be a 20-minute pod. We're not good at that.
Yeah, of course.
Mark Cuban's comments today.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, you know what? Maybe Papa Haslam doesn't look so bad, guys. Maybe. He showed his phone to a reporter to verify that they couldn't pay Brunson and just aired out a bunch of secret laundry, dirty laundry. Blamed Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson, for messing up the negotiation. I think my personal favorite is a tie between, he said, we're going to try and re-sign Kyrie. And somebody goes, what about Christian Wood? And he goes, not going to get into individual players.
Wait, did that actually happen?
That literally happened.
Yes, it did.
What is Kyrie Irving? Is Kyrie Irving a collective?
Why is this press conference happening?
Damage control.
The season's not over.
Clearly.
Because he has no impulse control.
Cuban does this to throw the blame off of other, like take on the blame himself.
Yeah, he's trying to save Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
That's what we learned from for talking about text after you lost something like Jason Kidd.
Yeah, leaking a text. That's a Jason Kidd. He probably did tell him that. He's like, hey, listen, I know a good move for these situations. I'm in them quite often. Also, my other favorite thing is that he took the blame. First, he basically acknowledged that he's the shadow GM and took the blame for the roster not being good enough. But the reason he gave was hysterical. He's like, it's my fault. It's not Kidd's fault. Nothing he could have done. I'm paraphrasing. I forgot to take into account that the league sped up the take foul rule and all this. And things are just changing. It's like, oh, yeah, the take foul. The league has never been so different from one year to the next. If they didn't have the take foul, JaVale would be 20-12 every night. But the take foul is really holding back. What does that even mean? The take foul.
You know what my favorite Mark Cuban thing is, by the way? This is a little bit on. It's completely unrelated to basketball. It's where he tweeted at Elon Musk asking about a Twitter thing and then turned off replies so only Elon could reply. Has no replies.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, you're getting aired by Elon Musk.
Well, he's probably looking for Elon to message him back on Cyberdust.
I don't even know what that is.
That's a deep cut. His failed communication app, yeah.
Yeah.
He thought it was going to take out Twitter. Maybe that's why Elon won't reply to him. He said, hey, I remember what you tried to do. I can't risk cyber dust coming back in this climate.
That app is in the cyber dust.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's they're speed running it. I mean, you have all of these factors coming together. You have Mark Cuban, you have Kyrie Irving, you have Jason Kidd. Just like, yeah, this is a good combination. Let's do this.
Luka's going to look good in the green and cream. That's all I'm saying.
He's going to look incredible. I think the Mavs can still make the play-in if the Thunder go 1-1 and the Mavs go 2-0.
Yeah, because they beat the Kings today.
So they're technically still alive.
Congrats.
Would the Mavericks take a game of the Bucks, Rohan?
Mavericks wouldn't even need to show up. Like, just concede the game.
I don't think they would. I think here's the take. I think the Toronto Raptors have a better chance to take one off the Bucks than the Mavericks.
Why?
Because the Toronto Raptors have players who can sort of defend Giannis, and the Mavericks don't.
What do you mean? It's called having 5 players. Because Nick Nurse just...
The Mavericks do not have 5 defensive players.
Nick Nurse holds Giannis to like 20 points on 9-9 shooting.
The Mavericks
he doesn't
are not
get to 30.
That.
He's throwing a parade. My guy's marching. He is having like he's running up and down the court. He's having the best day of his fucking life. If he holds Giannis to below his scoring average, who cares if the rest of the guys go off because they're getting wide open threes? Because he's literally sending 5 guys at Giannis. As long as he holds Giannis and he can just like up his defensive acumen or whatever it is around the league, like that's fine by him. He can do whatever he wants. Nick Nurse is just out here celebrating.
Is this still going on?
Yeah, Nick Nurse will be out there celebrating when he holds the opposing star player to under their scoring average. Meanwhile, the rest of the team's like, hey, bro, by the way, we're losing games. Our season's going under. Do you want to do something about that? Nah, I'm the GOAT. I'm the defensive GOAT, motherfuckers. I held this guy to it below his season averages. I'm incredible. Houston, give me the biggest contract possible. Okay, I'm done.
I'm just so lost. This is just so... I feel like I haven't even had any... I have no memorable Raptors experiences since 2019, I think. I just don't know.
I wonder why.
Well, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because Kawhi was like, yeah, I want a title here, but it's like nothing else wants to keep me here. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah. I don't even know
lost
if I
Marc Gasol for nothing, lost Serge Ibaka for nothing, lost... I mean, like, what else do you... Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't even know if I can hand it to you to the outro. I don't think we're going to go anywhere. I think
it's too hot. It's too hot.
Raptors thoughts.
I think the Raptors can take a game off the Bucks.
I think they have a better chance
Precious
than
Achiuwa
Dallas.
going to have 40 and 20 or something?
Maybe.
Chris Boucher, the youngest 35-year-old in the league, is going to be like having like 30 points or something for that to happen.
I think their fan base is upset they won't sign Jeff Doughton Jr., which is probably the most down bad shit I've ever heard.
It's
former Bucks, former Herd.
Yeah, one game, I think.
Yeah.
Just we saw him go off for the Lakeland Magic that one game.
Revenge game.
Yeah. I don't even know. Do I have anything else to rant about?
Probably.
Yeah, I probably do. Anyone want to give me any ideas?
No.
Okay.
I think we've hit our quota for this one. We'll circle back on Monday and you can rant about. Well, we'll know the team then, right? So Monday you can really.
That's true.
I'll just be on mute. I'll just say, "Welcome to the Eurostep." I'm going to pass it to Rohan. He's got 46 minutes of material on the Atlanta Hawks.
Rohan. It's just him going, do not show up to the arena. Don't even bother. Don't.
Just reading every player and all of their individual stats, and after each one going, you fucking kidding me? Seriously?
That's your borp?
Honestly.
That's your borp.
Clint Capella's true shooting is at a 4-year low. What a fucking joke this is.
What is your pippum?
Shout out Cranges. Just... Okay, I think I should probably say it. Let's wrap this up. Thank you if you're still here for listening to me rant, and thank you for listening to this episode of the GSPN, this Eurostep Win in 6 crossover. Make sure you check out gspn.info for all of our links, but make sure you're also subscribed wherever you're listening to this, whether that be on your podcast platform of choice or watching it on YouTube. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice, or leave a like on YouTube. You know, why not? Leave a comment, get that engagement going. Make sure you check us out on Repod also, by the way. Great platform. Get some good engagement there. Great discussions to be had on Repod. And like I mentioned earlier, check out gspn.info for the Discord link. all of our other pods, merch store, Substack, whatever you need. Playback link is in there. And make sure, like I mentioned, the Discord link is in there. Join in so you make sure you know when there's the next live event. So that was a great time. Thank you to everyone again who tuned in for that, who came out for that. That was an incredible experience, one of the best experiences I've ever had. So thank you truly for making that a special night for all of us at GSPN. But yeah, thank you for listening. Pod Random, and we will talk to you next time.